Los Angeles Lakers revealed the championship banner. Will they get another one at the end of this season?
That's a beautiful scene. Great to see AD and LeBron and Jeannie Buss and the family, Lakers Nation, enjoying their 17th championship to tie the Celtics. That's as close as you'll get to a championship. Let's start the show.
He is Jalen Rose. I'm David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What exactly is it that we do?
What up, though? We get the people what they want.
There is so much to discuss in the NBA, and we will discuss some of that with the Mavs, Jalen Brunson later, but we start with the return of the beard in Brooklyn. James Harden is back, and Jalen, he didn't even look like he missed a step. I liked what I saw from him. What do you think?
When you step through to Brooklyn, so he's a masterful playmaker, and when he's out on the floor, I appreciate his role now with the Nets is to understand that he got to make everybody around him better. He's the facilitator. He's the orchestrator. He's the quarterback of the offense. Kyrie's the assassin. Is going to go one-on-one and try to go for 35 every night. KD, iceberg slim, shooting trades from the suburbs. James Harden is the guy that now everybody else wants to move, and Jeff Green wants to cut, and Claxton is getting dunks, and Harris can now get more opportunities. And he plays at his own pace. And I know what you're now going to say to me. Hey, Jalen, since Harden is back, are you ready to predict that the Nets are going to win it all? Is that what you're ready for me to say? Is that what you're ready to challenge me on?
I like you going against the Nets. I like you picking against the Nets because I know the Nets are going to come out of the East, and you're going to change your pick eventually. But one thing I love about James Harden, he's very self-aware. He understands who James Harden is, and here's what he had to say after the game.
Not to like brag or anything, but I'm really good at this game.
I love this. He's like, look, I'm going to be humble about this, but like, I'm really good at basketball. So y'all might be surprised that it looks so good playing basketball today, but I'm really good at basketball. Love it so much.
And also, based on the sacrifice each needs to make, KD is a two-time Finals MVP. We've seen Kyrie win a championship. James now making this a supers team has to be the one that makes the sacrifices. And fortunately for them, his game is built to do so. Years ago, people thought I was bugging when I said Harden is the most unique offensive weapon that has ever played in the NBA. You know, George Gervin got my phone number right. You know, I had so many people hitting me that was like, are you kidding me? And I'm like, he's the only guy that's ever gonna lead the league in total threes made, free throws made, total assists. Just think about that. Usually that's 4 different guys. James Harden has been the embodiment of your unique talent, and now that he's healthy, I know why you're very excited about the Nets. But their big three still has only played 7 games together.
Well, when James Harden is on the floor, the Nets are 28-7. When he is off, they're 11-11. They're certainly in a better spot with him than without him. And we move on to another team looking to get all of their superstars on the floor, and that is the Los Angeles Lakers, who we just saw raise the banner. Well, didn't have the superstars on the floor for this one, but they did have some good contributions from others. What do you think about the bench coming through in this one?
When teams win championships, there's a reason why everybody affiliated gets a ring. Family members, people that work in the organization, even sometimes people that cover the team, and everybody on the roster. Of course, we're going to celebrate LeBron James and his excellence and Anthony Davis being their top players. But if you're looking now deeper into the Lakers roster, Kyle Kuzma giving them quality minutes. Andre Drummond has now started to play better. THT with Schroeder and Caruso out is now giving them a great opportunity to win games. So each of those guys feel confident about themselves. Montrezl Harrell was just recently getting DNPs, Jacoby. He's the 6th man of the year. It just shows you the kind of depth that they have when they're healthy.
Well, when you look at where the Lakers are in the standings in the West, we talked yesterday about how maybe going to the play-in game wouldn't be the worst thing because you end up matched up with the Suns instead of the Clippers. But The Blazers won yesterday against the Jazz. The Mavericks won yesterday against the Pelicans. They're not giving up the 5 and 6 spot. I think the Lakers will end up in 7 in the play-in, and I also think that's not the worst thing in the world. What do you think?
I agree with you. All things relative. However, you don't have room for error when you flirt with the play-in game. I mentioned the Lakers last night, but LeBron wasn't playing, and AD wasn't playing. And AD has a groin injury. And you know what I learned about those? They don't necessarily heal overnight. So this is something that likely is going to linger with Anthony Davis. So the goal should be to play less games, Jacoby, and not more. You put yourself in the play-in, all of a sudden a freak injury or accident happens, Steph Curry goes out and puts up 45 on you, and before you know it, you're out in the play-in. And so it's important for them, yes, if all things are relative, to play against the Suns versus the Clippers. But they're not in a position to play those games because you're now flirting with a single or double game elimination because you're involved in the play-in.
I fully expected LeBron James to be in uniform when that banner was revealed. Didn't you? Because we thought maybe he would play Tuesday night. And the idea that he wasn't available, that he wasn't in uniform when that banner was revealed, was a little bit concerning for someone who definitely has the Lakers coming out of the Western Conference. But I look forward to seeing him on the court soon. I don't think he's going to make his debut in a play-in tournament. Jalen, it is now time for some unfound
games. James Harden returns as the Nets host the Spurs. How did he fare? Again, he told you he's good. Let's take a look. First time coming off the bench in 9 years. And he did his thing coming off the bench. How about that beautiful long bounce pass to Jeff Green, who was wide open. We know how he can thread the needle. That court vision on display immediately upon his return. And the Nets are up easy right now over the Spurs, 53-44. It's just the second quarter. 30 seconds later, Nets are still up by a bunch. Harden, again, finds Green off glass. 3 assists in the quarter from Harden, all going to Green. So Spurs caught up a little bit. They were up to 6 at the break with Brooklyn. In the third, Harden pulls up and sinks the 3 and 1. Look again as he puts on the fake, creating some space for the triple. 96-81 was your score entering the fourth quarter. Again, this is all about James Harden. And what kind of legs would he have after 18 games with a hamstring injury? The slick bounce pass there to Nicholas Claxton. Wow. Through 2 defenders. I mean, there's just not too much you can do about that kind of passing, that kind of vision, that kind of intensity, because remember, he's good. Here, he's going to find Kevin Durant. Look at that, kind of over-the-shoulder pass for KD. Nets were 11 of 17 off Harden passes in this game. They won 18-18 in his return. Listen.
Not to like brag or anything, but I'm really good at this game. You know, I study the game. I'm very unselfish. I take the game and I play it the right way every single night. So I don't try to do anything that I can't do or anything that doesn't benefit our team. And if that mindset right there keeps me in a really good place.
Yeah, he's in a good place. And how about the Nets record? Talk about being in a good place. 28-7 when Harden is in their lineup this season. That's the best record by any player with any team among those to have played at least 1,000 minutes this season. Last night, by the way, was the 206th game of his career with double-digit assists. By the way, it was 11. But the first time he needed fewer than 26 minutes to do it. He was efficient in his return back after 18 games. Kendrick Perkins was teammates with Harden in Oklahoma City a long time ago. The last time he came off the bench, 2012, the same year he was 6th man of the year in the NBA. So Perk, overall, thanks for being here with us again on SportsCenter. What was your biggest takeaway from his impressive return last night?
Well, I mean, just how good he looked, right? And the way that James Harden is one of those guys that you could drop anywhere in America at any given time, and he's going to be James Harden. He's just a flat-out hooper. Some guys need time. He don't. Basketball comes natural to him. He came out of his mother's womb getting buckets. But the thing I love about James Harden is his ability to make others around him better. He is one of the best facilitators in the game today when you talk about a shooting guard / that could play the point guard position. And look, him coming off the bench, Sage, I played with James Harden in Oklahoma City where he won 6th Man of the Year. And he flourished well. You can put him in any lineup, any system. He moves without the ball well. He can play on and off the ball. And his ability to make plays. I mean, look at him just dropping dimes to Big Perk, cutting to the basket, assisting for and ones and dunks and reverse layups. That was the good old days. But look, James Harden is just a flat-out hooper. You have basketball players, and then you have guys that could hoop, and he's one of them.
Absolutely. By the way, timing is everything. And just as the regular season ends, good timing for Brooklyn. And no Kyrie. He has the facial contusion, which we like to call a bruise, right, Matt Berry? Contusion equals a bruise.
Yeah.
But we still have only seen a total of 7 games this season with this big 3 on the court.
And that's going to be a factor, Sage. You talk about a factor for the Lakers. Perk, we thought perhaps we'd see LeBron back on the court Wednesday night as well. He decided to continue to rest that ankle. But you actually figured that was no big deal because of the Lakers, of course, who they were playing.
Sage, look, let me tell you, Sage, you, myself, Matt, maybe throw in Stephen A. and maybe Molly, we could go out there and beat the Houston Rockets right now. So Bron might as well go ahead and go lace his shoes.
So upon further review, Perk, I really believe you are correct.
Really? Yeah, I am. And we witnessed this last night, man. Look. LeBron James didn't play, which I thought was a great deal, right? Because what's been happening with the Lakers over the last month and a half, the role players, the others have been struggling, right? And so this was a game that they could get their confidence back. We watched Andre Drummond have 20 and 10. Markieff Morris, who had been struggling, he was in double figures. And then Taylor Horton-Tucker was able to play the point guard position so that he could get accustomed to making plays for others, because we don't know how long Dennis Schroeder's going to be out with the COVID protocol. But with all that said, right, you need the others. If you're trying to win a championship, you need the others. Your superstars are going to do what they do. But just look at history. Robert Horry, Derek Fisher, Tayshaun Prince, Kendrick Perkins, right? You need those others to come in and fulfill those roles to help you win games in the playoffs so that you can win a championship. And I thought it was a brilliant idea by the front office and the coaching staff and LeBron James to let those guys go out there and rock out and be able to grind it out in the thick of things and figure it out on them for themselves and get their rhythm last night against the Houston Rockets.
Yeah, Perk, that's a great point. You need the role players come playoff time. We know that you know that because once in the back of the day when you guys were competing for championships, you were a role player at some point, and this is pivotal coming down the stretch. Perk, good stuff. Thank you so much. You'd mentioned the Lakers last night against Houston. Let's show you how we got there without AD and LeBron. Big night for the Lakes, lifting their 2020 championship banner and state.